Good morning, everyone. It's been a long time since I gave an update on the garden areas. We have had a crazy summer. We started out about 6 weeks ago, I guess. My husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and that turned our world upside down. Learning how to cook, finding out that everything I had planned, and learning to make bread, and that was a waste of time, really, because we don't have bread anymore in our house for the most part. Anyway, then my daughter had surgery to remove 6 wisdom teeth, and that was a couple of weeks of her healing, and it has just been crazy, and the gardens all got neglected, and the deer came in, and the bugs just took over. It's just been terrible. But anyway, life's kind of getting back to normal a little bit now. My husband's doing fine. He's gotten his sugar down to the normal levels, managing it with some lifestyle changes, diet changes, and taking his medicine. So anyway, it's been really hot, and we went a long time with just no rain. And everybody in our area was getting rain, but it was like we had a bubble over our property, and we didn't get any. So anyway, a lot of things suffered. The fig trees here, you can barely even see them anymore. They grew a little bit this year finally, but I got one tiny little fig on this one, but it wilted and died, and it's just not doing very good. But we're going to give them a couple more years and see if they don't get established. I came through and just chopped and dropped all the irises and lilies and everything that was just kind of looking brown and yucky. Made this area look a little cleaner. I need to get out here and mow, but that's just another thing on my to-do list. And as you can see over here, the pumpkins did not grow. They just died, even though we watered them every day, fertilized over here. The mimosa tree here seems to have enjoyed all that attention, but I planted a bunch of yarrow and stuff. And weeds, really, is what it was, but they didn't grow either. So that's this one. And then I had all the watermelons planted here, and they didn't grow. This had peas and mullein and all kinds of stuff planted in here. I put some squash and some pepper plants. They didn't grow. The corn came up, but it's not gonna obviously do anything. I planted a ton of those seeds in here from Baker Creek, and I'm just gonna say it wasn't anything to do with their seeds, rather my gardening skills. In the next round bed here, was gonna be my medicinal and herb garden. It's got stuff in it, but nothing to brag about. I had some turmeric bulbs I planted here, and they're growing pretty good. I put a rosemary in a little plant here. It's doing well. The St. John's wort and yarrow, all that's still here. Not growing very good, but it's still living. Comfrey's doing all right. And that's about it, pretty much. All the plants that I put in the cinder blocks for flowers and that, it just didn't really, stuff came up. There's some bee balm or balm of some kind. Some of the little plants came up, but just not many. And over here we have the grapevines. I did a harvest over here. Harvested all the grapes, and we ended up with 14 pounds of grapes. And at the moment I have them in the house making wine with those. That's a new experience for us. I put a loofah gourd plant down here, and it's actually starting to bloom. So maybe we'll get some loofah gourds out of this before the end of the season. Got some mysterious plants. I don't know if that's something I planted or I don't know what it is. I got some balm coming up in here. Lavender's doing okay. The beets and all that was in here, they died out. Now here is the okra. And I actually came through here and cut off the dead tops. The deer have just come up through my front yard. They're crossing right in front of the house. And it appears that they're just making their way right down this buffet. And they are just eating everything. We ended up getting some okra, but absolutely nothing to put away. I've cut up some and put it in the freezer, but it's not even a quart-sized bag. But the deer just keep coming in and eating every single leaf off. And with everything that was going on, it was just something I wasn't really like, eat it, I don't care. These are my tomatoes. I've come through here and cut off all the leaves and branches that had the blight because of the summer heat. And I've allowed the suckers to grow, and that's what's growing up here. They're doing really well. And if you can see, some of these plants are gotta be 10 feet tall. Getting some tomatoes, so maybe I'll actually get a harvest off of these. I don't know, we'll see how they do. But lots of stuff. I do have some of the tomato hornworms in here, and I need to come in here and find them at night, and I just haven't had time to do it. Most of the gourds that are growing are on dead vines, and so they're done growing, I think. They're all pretty small, but we'll figure out and do something with them. I'm not sure what. These are all the beefsteak tomatoes here in this row. These are the Roma tomatoes. Didn't get hardly anything out of those. My little flowering plants are finally starting to grow. And this little tomato, it just didn't grow. It stayed the same size all year, and now all of a sudden it's going to start growing, so that's good. I didn't get any butternut squash at all. They died off. I ended up with one good-sized loofah gourd, but now the temperatures are cooling off and we're getting some cooler, wet weather. I've got a few more growing in. There's one there. There's some new little bottle gourds coming on, and then there's another loofah gourd there. Now the deer came in. They just love these pepper plants, and they actually did me a favor, I think. They just kept eating the tops out of these Tabasco pepper plants, and they turned them in from a big tall stringy bush or tree into a fat bush. So they actually pruned them out for me pretty good, and the plants seem to like that. So I could just keep them out of here. We stocked up on the deer corn and mineral blocks and all that in the woods to keep them hopefully in the woods and out of my garden. But these three here, this one, and this one are all the Tabasco peppers. This is a chili pepper plant, and I've harvested a bunch of peppers off of here. And then this is a serrano pepper. The mint kind of died out, but they're trying to come back. There's another mint that's actually gone to seed. The tomato hornworms have been hitting these cherry tomatoes very hard. And I've picked 4 or 5 of them off of here and fed them to the ducks. But obviously there's still more hiding in here somewhere, and I need to come out with a black light at night and see if I can find them, but I just forget. But if I don't do that, I probably won't get any more. I mean, look how the hornworms are just eating them. And then I'm not sure what this is. I need to do a plant identification on this one because I have no idea what that is. It's some kind of a weed. The strawberries, the deer enjoyed those. I dug up the sweet potatoes, and they are just sad. The deer kept coming in eating all the leaves, so I guess all summer it just put in all the energy from the plants into just keeping leaves on it. So that's my potato harvest. And then my sister, when I was in Louisiana, she went to see my family last week, and my sister dug up a little baby off of her banana tree and gave me one. I got to get that repotted or it's going to die. The serranos, again, the deer just mutilated these. They just went up and down that tunnel area and came out here and ate off of these jalapenos. If I can keep these plants alive, I'm going to overwinter them. Maybe next year we'll have a head start. The lemon trees are doing well. My peonies barely grew at all this year. I think that's just junk soil that they came from Walmart. The pineapple looks really good. It's growing well. There's 2 pineapple plants that came out of that one pineapple. The roses are just, the beetles got those. And then over here, the lemon tree is living. That's about all I can say about that. This serrano plant is doing really well, if the deer would quit eating on it. Tons of, and I already picked a bunch off of here, so this thing is really producing well. I got to get out here, and, you know, even in these pots, they're going to weed. My hibiscus plants, the deer are just devouring them. That's a nice little pot of lavender. And all my beans I pulled up because, well, it was just too hot for them. And there's another hibiscus that's trying to recover from the last time the deer came in. And these are my bell peppers. And the deer just, you know, love pepper plants. I think I know what to plant in my food plot. I dug up all the cabbage and the broccoli and all that because they were just full of snails. I did come out and put in some seeds for some more pepper plants for maybe, hopefully, a little bit of a fall harvest. And they've come up. And then I have these 3 avocado trees that look nice. The deer ate the top out of those, but they're recovering. Rosemary, not too great. The oregano is doing nice. Sage is nice. And then that celery just keeps on. And then I just come out here once in a while and harvest a handful of these green onions and just put them in a jar in the kitchen and use them until they just are no good anymore. And then I have this plant here. It's just a decorative plant. And this is where the broccoli and Brussels sprouts were. The animals enjoyed those plants. I went and pulled them up. They just were not going to do anything. And then I put in a couple of pomegranate plants, and they're doing well. And then this is spotted bee balm. I don't know that it'll bloom or anything, but we'll see. And then this is my wisteria. I think the beetles, those Japanese beetles, might have gone now. Hopefully. There might be one or two random ones here and there. But for the most part, they're not just covering it. But this wisteria has been trying to bloom all year and all summer long. And as soon as they get the blossoms on there, the beetles eat the flowers off. But they're starting to put on some blooms. So I guess to sum it up, I would have to say that the 2022 summer garden, because see, the carrots didn't even do anything. I actually gave all those to the cows. Was a total flop. Just a combination between deer and beetles and aphids and the drought and, you know, illness in the family and traveling, and it just was not a good year for the garden. But my chamomile, sadly, it died out. It just was too hot. And I left all the flowers on them to go to seed, but I don't see any new plants coming up. So I guess that didn't work either. My orange tree looks really good. It's getting really tall. It looks very healthy. And then I have these pomegranate plants here, and I need to pull them up. The roots have come out of the bottom, and so that's on my list of things to do today, is to repot those and get them in bigger pots and out of this one. This was a mullein plant that I found on the side of the road, and I didn't want to use it, you know, for medicinal reasons because it was on the side of the road, but I put it in this pot since the bee balm didn't grow that I had here. I put it in this pot and scatter the seeds. So maybe we'll see next year if this actually survives. Now these elephant ears are doing fantastic. They look good. Everything else I had in here, you know, pretty much, I had a bunch of garlic and stuff in here, and it's just gone. So it was just not enough sun here. But these are, I mean, this one is almost as tall as I am. Maybe next year, after they are rooted better, maybe they'll grow bigger next year. And then over here in the Circle Drive, it's really just a big old weed mess. Grass and briars and poison ivy and stuff. I still have these little cabbage plants in them. But the beetles or snails get in here and eat it all down as soon as it gets any size to it. The hydrangeas are sad. They're still living, but they are just burned up from this heat. They're just burnt. Burnt. Confederate rose is coming along. It didn't get nearly as big as I thought it would this year. But it's got a little bit in it. I can see some signs that it might bloom. But if it does, it won't bloom till October. But just look, all these leaves are just burned. This is after, I mean, we water them nearly every day. And they're done blooming for the year, so. I have one down here that's trying to put on some more blooms. Let's see. So it's trying to bloom, but it's just so burned up. And then just, you know, really nothing to see down there. My crepe myrtles didn't bloom at all this year because of the aphids. And all this is aphid poop and mildew and whatever, but just not healthy. The tree trunk and the stems are all just covered in mildew. But the Japanese beetles came in and just ate every single seed pod off the ends. And that was the same case for all of my crepe myrtles. But just down the road, like the next street over, this guy's got his entire driveway lined with them, and his bloomed beautifully. So I don't know why they just come here all over town. The crepe myrtles, like at the Walmart parking lot and all that, they're all just full of blooms. And anyway, last night I opened the back gate and let the cows in so they could have, you know, come in here and mow my grass a little bit. Hey, mister. Hey, what are you doing? You ready for some breakfast? You want some breakfast? Ruger's doing good. He's getting big. He hasn't killed anybody yet. Riley says, good morning, everybody. Everybody's doing well. Turkeys are doing good. There's the other two cows over there. Uh-oh. Be nice. Be nice. Ruger, you better leave that cow alone. Alright, well, I'm going to cut this off here. Got to get everybody fed. And start with all my chores. But anyway, I hope y'all have a good day. And hopefully your garden season went better than mine. Take care, and y'all, we'll see you next time.